Warning. Mainstream media is repeatedly reporting that Russia stole the election from Hillary Clinton. The best protection is no exposure to mainstream media lies and DNC-sponsored horse chips about Russia stealing the election.
Releasing the newest batch of what are believed to be campaign chairman John Podesta's hacked emails. One showing just how much Clinton's team struggled to get her to apologize over that private server controversy. A top advisor writing, her inability to just do a national interview and communicate genuine feelings of remorse and regret is now, I fear, becoming a character problem, more so than honesty. I see no downside in her actually just saying, look, I'm sorry. I think it will take so much air out of this. Podesta agreeing, saying, trying to figure out how to get her there and best way to execute. Ultimately, Clinton did apologize.
As I look back at it now, even though it was allowed, I should have used two accounts, one for personal, one for work-related emails. That was a mistake. I'm sorry about that. I take responsibility.
The Clinton campaign not responding to individual documents, instead accusing the Russians of orchestrating the hack to help Donald Trump win.
All right, so now we're going to show you the origins, first of all, of the Russia bullshit McCarthyism smears from the Democrats and through all the neoliberal elite has been pushing this Russia thing. And where did it come from? This is an internal document from the Hillary Clinton campaign. Hillary Clinton for President consultant team, a guy named Pete Brodnitz. This is from June 26, 2015, and this is from an internal poll they did on the horse race, and it's from Top Line Results. So if you look where that arrow points, that's the conclusion of their internal polling was that Secretary Clinton's top vulnerability as tested in this poll is the attack that claims that as Secretary of State, she signed off on a deal that gave the Russian government control over 20% of Americans' uranium production after investors in the deal donated over $140 million to the Clinton Foundation. And by the way, Bill Clinton also got $500,000 from a Kremlin-connected bank at the same time as this deal was going through, and that was among his highest paid speeches of his life. Half of all likely voters are less likely to support Clinton after hearing that statement, and 17% were much less likely to support. So they said that was her biggest vulnerability. 12/21/2015. So just a few months after that internal report, Donald Trump starts to surge. At the end of 2015, he starts to surge, and they start to get scared. So if you read that part in blue at the bottom, what it says is, the best approach is to slaughter Donald for his bromance with Putin. That's where this comes from. FBI and the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, were not allowed to look at the DNC or Podesta servers. That's the only way you could prove it.
We never got direct access to the machines themselves. The DNC in the spring of 2016 hired a firm that ultimately shared with us their forensics from their review of the system.
CrowdStrike had to rewrite one of CrowdStrike's Russian hacking reports. This is the company, the non-government company that has nothing to do with the US government, that the entire US government is using through the DNC to perpetuate the Russian hacker myth.
We reported on the cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike, the one which had initially claimed Russia hacked the Democratic National Committee, or DNC. Now the company has walked back the key claims in that report, prompting questions about the group's overall credibility.
U.S. government-funded news outlet Voice of America reported that an update to last December's scandalous report by cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike contained misattributed quotes. It cited an analyst at the British Institute, the International Institute of Strategic Studies, but the entity told VOA it disavowed the CrowdStrike report and said it had never been contacted by the company, which came out with a statement in English debunking CrowdStrike's findings. This never made news, unlike the previous explosive claim by the firm that Russia hacked the DNC. CrowdStrike's founder, Dmitry Alperovich, was in heavy rotation on mainstream networks.
Director Rogers, did the NSA ever get access to the DNC hardware?
The NSA didn't ask for access. That's not in our job jar. That would
Good copy.
$12,000 emails so far. Everything from when Clinton should laugh during debates,
Woo, okay.
to her private speeches to Wall Street that seem to contradict her public positions. Even this one, claiming Clinton told a private trade union gathering that extreme environmentalists need to, quote, get a life.
The moment we as a nation find out exactly why Hillary Clinton used a private server to store special access program intelligence, the highest level classification, alongside yoga emails. If she were to get indicted, Bernie Sanders would have been president. The moment we as a nation focus on that, the Democratic Party will then make a profound, I'd say, adjustment towards reason and logic. You can't simply bring up a fake news Russia story and say, well, you know, Russia worked with with Trump to hack the DNC, and ignore the following. The House Science Committee has referred the CEO of an IT firm behind Hillary Clinton's private email server to the Department of Justice for prosecution, the committee announced Thursday. The chief executive of Platte River Networks may be guilty of failing to produce subpoena documents, making false statements to Congress, and obstructing its investigation. Of the three companies involved in the Clinton home email server, Committee 8 said Platte River was the only one not to comply with subpoenas. Platte River flatly refused to cooperate with our investigations, said House Science Committee 8. A referral sent to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, signed by Committee Chair Lamar Smith, states that Platte River ultimately provided no documents whatsoever.
Congressional lawmakers are recommending criminal prosecution of the company that took care of Hillary Clinton's private email server. The charge they're recommending? Obstruction of justice.
The committee investigating this Clinton server network held a conference call with reporters. I don't think more than 4 or 5 people were on it. That's truly horrendous, because you're right, it would be the opposite if it was focused on Trump. But essentially what we're looking at here is the company that maintained and set up Clinton's home-brewed server, that email server. What they've done is not replied for over a year now to congressional requests for information, documents, all of these types of things related not just to the security and infrastructure of the server, but related also to the way they installed this server. I think we know that classified information had been passing back and forth, and it's a major issue if it was subjected to hacks. One thing this committee in Congress does know is that, in fact, that did happen, because there were 2 other companies that complied fully with the congressional investigation. So the server was hacked. These guys are keeping their mouths shut.
Right. And this is Platte River Networks, of course. But explain to me how this works, because if you ignore a subpoena, I mean, everyday Americans, if you ignored one or if I ignored one, we'd be hauled off to jail. I mean, you can't just ignore a court summons that way. That's a crime.
No, you can, and certainly from Congress in the advisory role, and certainly in terms of their job to really do this type of oversight. That's why they have subpoena power. That's why they have legal authority